It's not uncommon for individuals to feel they are futilely clinging to someone who cannot truly appreciate their worth. An exhausting weariness often arises from fruitless attempts to find acceptance where one's true self is not embraced. However, there exists a profound wisdom capable of transforming this recurring pattern. Carl Jung, one of history's most insightful and influential thinkers, didn't just hypothesize, he unveiled a profound secret hidden within the deepest recesses of the human psyche. When an individual gains the ability to consciously release those who don't value their presence and contributions, it's not merely a colossal liberation of their life energy. This seemingly paradoxical act actually opens the gates to something immeasurably more valuable, something patiently waiting beyond the threshold of past attachments. This isn't just a comforting thought or an encouraging word. It's a deep, fundamental truth Jung meticulously explored throughout his work, delving into the labyrinths of the human unconscious. And it is this insight, this key to authentic freedom and self-realization that we are about to fully uncover. Imagine for a moment a metaphorical scene. Someone is tightly clutching a taut rope, squeezing it with all their might. This rope isn't just taut, it painfully digs into their palms, burning their skin, causing unbearable pain. Yet the person stubbornly refuses to let go, gripped by an irrational fear that if they loosen their grip, their entire world will plunge into an abyss. Perhaps this symbolic rope embodies exhausting, one-sided relationships that irrevocably drain life force, or it could be a so-called friend who only appears when they need something, using others for their own selfish ends. Sometimes it's even an outdated self-perception, no longer aligned with one's true essence, which shackles personal development like chains. Does this internal struggle sound familiar to anyone? Carl Jung would undoubtedly confirm, in this state, one is far from alone. Since the dawn of human civilization, individuals have at times unconsciously carried unbearable burdens that don't belong to them, doing so because they've lost sight of something vital. Deep within every person, at their innermost core, lies an unexplored universe, a sacred space brimming with inexhaustible power, subtle intuition, and unwavering authenticity, which persistently calls out to be heard and acknowledged. Take a moment to pause and reflect deeply on your own life. How many times have you felt an inner voice or intuitive hunch persistently signaling this isn't right? Perhaps it was a relationship that looked perfect on social media but left you feeling empty the moment the phone was put down. Or maybe it was that job everyone praised, but which made you wake up every morning with a knot in your stomach. Carl Gustav Jung taught that such signals are not random coincidences. They don't just appear out of nowhere. It's the unconscious communicating with you, sending its messages through emotions, dreams, and even that hard-to-explain discomfort you feel. And here's the first, rather sobering point. Every time you disregard these inner promptings, you inevitably drift further from who you truly are. The unconscious, according to Jung, doesn't operate with eloquent phrases or logical arguments. It won't send an email directly stating, "Hey, this relationship is destroying you." Instead, it communicates in the language of symbols through that elusive feeling of something is off that you sense in your chest, or through the strange dreams that visit you after an exhausting day. Have you ever woken up with an image in your mind that you couldn't shake? That's not a coincidence. It's your deeper mind trying to get your attention. And when that attention isn't given, when you continue to cling to what doesn't value you, the price becomes immeasurably high. You gradually lose your inner peace, deplete your life energy, and, step by step, forfeit your authentic self. Let's delve deeper into the topic of relationships for a moment, as this is often where the most intriguing aspects of human existence unfold. Has it ever happened that you meet someone, and at first, everything seems exceptionally rosy, a period filled with joy, mutual promises, and shared plans for the future? However, over time, you start to notice you're investing significantly more than you're receiving in return. Perhaps the initiative always comes from one side, whether it's sending the first message, offering forgiveness, or constantly making concessions. Meanwhile, the other person in the relationship continues their existence as if nothing is amiss, failing to acknowledge your true worth and presence. According to Jung, such a situation isn't merely bad luck in matters of the heart, it's a reflection of something much deeper, specifically a manifestation of your own shadow. The shadow, in Carl Jung's concept, represents the part of the personality that one diligently hides, suppresses, avoiding a direct look at it. This could be a deeply rooted fear of rejection, an insatiable need for constant approval, or the whisper of an inner voice saying, "I don't deserve anything better." And here's the key truth Jung aimed to convey. The longer an individual ignores this shadow, the more power it gains over their existence. Do you know why someone continues to stay with those who don't value them? Because deep within their subconscious lies the belief that this is precisely the kind of treatment they deserve. And until there's a conscious confrontation with this deeply ingrained belief, until direct, fearless contact is established with one's shadow, the individual will remain a prisoner of the same recurring life cycle. Take a moment to pause and take a deep breath. What did you feel as you absorbed these words? Did something in your chest clench, urging a response? If so, that indicates you're on the right path to self-discovery. Jung didn't want people to live in illusory, superficial comfort. He desired for everyone to dare to explore the deeper layers of their own being, beyond the obvious. Imagine someone walking through a forest where two paths appear before them. One is bathed in sunlight, strewn with fragrant flowers, and has a smooth, paved surface. The other looks dark and winding, with low-hanging branches that threaten to scratch one's face, and uneven, stony ground underfoot. Which path would most prefer? The natural choice for most people would be the easy, anxiety-free route. However, Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychiatrist, would likely assert that the true treasure, the key to a full and meaningful life, is hidden precisely on that dark, challenging path, which forces one to confront their deepest fears. And it is in this context that the concept of self-love emerges, an idea Jung may not have explicitly formulated, but which undoubtedly forms the fundamental basis of his psychological teachings. When you stubbornly cling to a relationship with someone who cannot truly appreciate your individuality, you involuntarily transmit a message to your unconscious. My worth is negligible. Each time you allow others to violate your personal boundaries, letting them make you feel insignificant, you gradually extinguish the spark of your own inner light. Remember, your energy is not an inexhaustible resource. It possesses sacred significance. It is the life force that can guide you to your cherished dreams, lead you to people who can see your true essence, and to the life you rightfully deserve. Protecting and preserving this vital energy is not an act of selfishness, but rather a profound internal revolution that transforms the individual. Imagine someone who feels completely drained after interacting with a particular person. Yes, right now. This is that individual after a conversation with whom you feel utterly depleted, as if something valuable has been stolen from you. Perhaps an image of such a person has already come to mind. Carl Jung, the great thinker, would assert that such an interaction is by no means a random occurrence. On the contrary, it's a clear signal from the depths of your unconscious, urging you to carefully re-examine your personal boundaries. The question arises, why do you continue to allow this person to hold such significant power over you? What part of yourself is seeking in another what you deny or withhold from yourself? Perhaps it's a need for tenderness or maybe for approval, but here is the truth Jung left us. Everything you seek already resides within you. You just need to learn to see and acknowledge it. It's crucial to interpret this concept correctly. Releasing such a dependency doesn't mean you must hate that person or instantly erase them from your life. The act of letting go is first and foremost a profound act of self-love. It's a conscious acknowledgement that you deserve relationships that uplift you rather than deplete you. And when you take this step, releasing what weighs you down, something remarkable happens. The universe begins to move in your favor. Jung referred to this phenomenon as synchronicity, and we'll have a chance to delve deeper into that topic later. For now, it's important to understand this. Every time you say no to what doesn't value you, you simultaneously say yes to something more perfect. Can you imagine what life would be like if you only allowed those who can truly see and accept you into it? Let's take a small pause here for deep reflection. Consider which connections in your life are more oppressive than conducive to your growth and upliftment. It's important not to voice the answer aloud, but to feel it internally, as such questions are meant not just for passive reception, but for active contemplation and lived experience. The great thinker Carl Jung never intended for his profound ideas to remain confined to the pages of dusty tomes. His true desire was for people to actively apply these concepts to transform their own reality. Thus, our discussion moves to the next stage. A pertinent question arises: what happens when an individual makes the resolute decision to break free from their chains? What occurs when one gathers the courage to sever those invisible yet strong chains that bind them tightly to relationships that don't inspire or uplift, but instead extinguish their inner light and vital energy? Prepare yourself, for what lies ahead is truly a significant journey toward reclaiming your inner power and self-sufficiency. And on this matter, Jung, without a doubt, offers many valuable thoughts and insights. Imagine each person's life as a vast garden. Yes, a garden abundant with beautiful flowers and mighty trees, but also inevitably containing a certain number of weeds. These weeds symbolize those people or life circumstances that offer no nourishment, but instead ruthlessly drain your life force and energy, providing absolutely nothing valuable in return. Often one doesn't consider how many such weeds they allow to grow unchecked in their life's soil, simply because they fear the necessity of uprooting them. Perhaps it's a long-standing friendship that has long ceased to bring joy and support, turning into an empty formality, or a partner whose presence constantly makes you doubt your own significance and worth. Carl Jung would likely emphasize that the appearance of such elements in life is not accidental. Such relationships act as mirrors, reflecting the individual's inner world, serving as a precise representation of what has not yet been fully healed or recognized within their own soul. Everyone at times feels that relationships turn into an exhausting struggle. Every interaction can feel like a battlefield, and every step taken seems to hit an invisible wall of misunderstanding. In such moments, it's easy to succumb to the temptation of blaming the other, asserting they can't understand me, or they don't appreciate my efforts. However, the distinguished psychoanalyst Carl Gustav Jung proposed a different perspective, urging everyone to turn their gaze inward. In his view, such conflicts are not merely evidence of incompatibility, but rather profound signals emanating from the unconscious. These messages clearly indicate this situation or person does not align with your true essence. And as long as one persists, forcibly holding on to what doesn't suit them, as long as they swim against the natural current of their own life, they deprive themselves of the opportunity to find something more harmonious and fitting. Imagine this scenario. You're in a boat in the middle of a wide river. The water relentlessly flows in one direction, yet you're desperately rowing against the current. As a result of this opposition, exhaustion and deep frustration inevitably set in, and the final destination is never reached. What would happen if this person simply let go of the oars and allowed the river's powerful current to carry them? Carl Gustav Jung was convinced that life has its own natural flow. When an individual resists this flow, when they cling to what fundamentally doesn't belong to them and doesn't align with their authentic nature, they are essentially fighting against their own destiny. However, when one releases control, when they trust their intuition and life force, the river invariably guides them precisely to where they are meant to be. Once again, the concept of self-love comes to the forefront. Indeed, it's impossible to discuss letting go without a deep understanding of one's own attitude towards oneself. Often the question arises, have you ever felt the need to change yourself to earn someone's affection? Perhaps you muted your voice in heated arguments to avoid discomfort, or hid your cherished dreams because someone convinced you they were unrealistic. If such situations resonate with you, listen closely. Every time you betray your true essence for the approval of another, it's as if you erase a part of your own soul. Carl Jung called this phenomenon the loss of authenticity, emphasizing that it's one of the most dangerous actions one can take against their own psyche. Authenticity, according to Jung, represents the fundamental core of a fulfilling existence. It means living without masks, refusing pretense, and abandoning attempts to be someone else just to fit into others' molds. But how then do you recognize your authenticity? The answer is simple, yet at the same time unforgiving. If you have ever felt the need to adapt, diminish your significance, or hide your true nature to be accepted by someone, that is a betrayal of your own essence. And here arises a key question that everyone must ask themselves. What part of yourself are you sacrificing for someone who perhaps doesn't even see your true essence? It's important to ponder this deeply. To feel it, for this very answer, can be the first step on the path to true liberation. It's worth paying close attention to the social circle you cultivate, as this aspect holds fundamental importance in the works of Carl Gustav Jung. The distinguished psychoanalyst asserted that human relationships are by no means random coincidences. On the contrary, they are nothing less than projections of our unconscious world. In other words, the individuals you attract into your life serve as a mirror reflection of your inner content, your hidden beliefs, and unconscious desires. When you find yourself surrounded by those who constantly criticize, disregard your presence, or make you feel insignificant, this should not be seen as a simple turn of events or mere bad luck. Such a situation, according to Jung, is a clear indicator that something within your shadow, that hidden, unconscious part of your personality, urgently requires close attention and integration. This could be a deeply ingrained belief in your unworthiness of love, or an overwhelming fear of being completely alone. Until you dare to confront these inner aspects, you will inevitably continue to attract the same destructive relationship patterns into your reality. However, there's also a hopeful aspect to this concept. The individual possesses an inner strength capable of fundamentally changing the current situation. Jung, unlike many, did not seek to portray humans as helpless victims of circumstance or predetermined fate. He asserted that as soon as an individual embarks on the process of integrating their shadow, that is, consciously confronting and accepting those parts of themselves that cause embarrassment, shame, or fear, their entire reality begins to transform. This integration process means not just recognition, but also the harmonious incorporation of these aspects into the psyche's holistic structure. You can imagine the shadow as a restless child desperately crying out for attention. If ignored, its cries only intensify, becoming more persistent and piercing. However, if you find the courage and compassion to sit with this part of yourself, if you offer it acceptance and love, this inner essence gradually calms, finding harmony. And once the shadow achieves a state of calm, the circle of people appearing in your life qualitatively changes. Suddenly, you begin to attract individuals who show genuine respect, serve as sources of inspiration, and are capable of seeing your true inner light, contributing to your growth and development. The idea of releasing what no longer serves you certainly sounds appealing, even lofty. However, it's well known how difficult it can be to put this into practice. How many times has the thought crossed your mind, what if I'm making a mistake? Or, what if I never find a connection like this again? Such internal resistance is a perfectly natural reaction. Carl Jung, with his deep understanding of the human psyche, noted that people tend to cling to the familiar because they fear the unknown void. But here lies the crucial point. This apparent void doesn't signify an end. On the contrary, it symbolizes the beginning of a new cycle. It can be compared to the process of pruning a tree. When a gardener removes dry or diseased branches, they are not destroying the plant. Instead, they are providing it with the necessary space for more robust and healthier growth. Releasing those who cannot truly value you is an analogous act. It's a manifestation of deep self-belief, a kind of investment in a future where there's no need to beg for anyone's love or strive for respect. Let's try a small yet highly effective exercise. Close your eyes for a moment and visualize the image of someone who doesn't show you proper respect or appreciation. This could be someone from your present or past, it's important to clearly picture this figure before you. Then, maintaining calm but with inner resolve, mentally utter the phrase, "I am letting you go, not because I hate you, but because I love myself." What sensations does this mental act evoke? What changes in your body as these words are spoken? Jung would assert that even such a simple mental act begins to trigger profound processes in the unconscious. It's like planting a tiny seed. In time, it sprouts and leads you to unexplored places and opportunities you never even knew existed. This is where one of Carl Jung's key promises lies. When you release what no longer serves your highest good, the universe invariably responds. Jung called this phenomenon synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that are, in fact, not random. Perhaps at the very moment your inner healing process begins, someone new appears in your life, or an unexpected opportunity arises when you least expect it. This isn't the result of mystical forces or magic. It's a manifestation of your energy aligning with your authentic self. And the more you allow yourself to let go, the more expansive space you create for these amazing synchronicities to manifest in your life. Before we proceed to the next stage of our discussion, I invite you to consider one important question. What exactly might you be holding on to in your life right now that brings you more burden than true joy? There's no need to answer this question aloud, but it's worth carrying it with you as we continue to reflect. Our discussion is approaching its culmination, and if you're still with me, it undoubtedly indicates that the message has deeply resonated with you. Earlier, we discussed how Carl Jung's teachings guide us to listen to the voice of our unconscious, bravely face our shadow, and free ourselves from connections with those who cannot truly appreciate us. However, now it's time to address the core of the matter. What happens when you begin to live guided by your authentic self? What is it like to wake up each morning realizing complete harmony with your inner truth? This isn't just an abstract concept, it's a powerful invitation to transform your own life, and it is in Jung's legacy that the keys to this transformation can be found. So a deep breath might be in order, for what's to come will be quite significant. Imagine for a moment a hypothetical situation. You wake up tomorrow and all the masks you've worn have vanished. You no longer need to pretend that everything is fine when it's not. There's no need to force a smile to please others. No need to hide your deepest dreams just because someone once declared them unattainable. What would this version of yourself look like? Carl Jung would undoubtedly call this your true essence, your authentic self, that which is buried deep beneath numerous layers of societal expectations, personal fears, and relationships where your true nature remained unnoticed. And the encouraging news is that you don't need to search for this essence externally. It already exists within everyone, patiently awaiting the moment its owner decides to claim it. Living in alignment with your true essence means much more than just feeling pleasant sensations. It's a conscious act of resistance against everything that has ever claimed you are inadequate. How many times have you encountered situations where you were required to prove your own worth? Perhaps it was a partner who disregarded your feelings, or a boss who didn't acknowledge your efforts, or sometimes even yourself, convincing yourself that you don't deserve better. Carl Jung taught that such voices are not the truth. They are merely echoes of the shadow, those aspects of the personality that have not yet been fully integrated. And when you dare to confront these internal or external narratives, when you resolutely declare enough, something amazing happens. You begin to attract into your life what truly aligns with your authentic worth. Let's return to the realm of relationships, as this is where the profound meaning of this process often manifests. Have you noticed that those who don't value you often share certain common traits? Perhaps it's their inconsistent behavior, drawing near then pulling away, or subtle manipulations that make you feel guilty. Jung would explain that such connections are projections of an individual's inner world. If a person deep down believes they don't deserve unconditional love, they will inevitably attract into their life those who confirm this conviction. However, when this inner belief shifts, when an individual recognizes their authentic worth, their deservingness of respect and affection, then the relationships that emerge in their life become a precise reflection of this renewed, whole self. Carl Gustav Jung's approach differs in that he doesn't merely call for individuality. Instead, he provides individuals with concrete tools to understand the reasons they deviated from their true essence and points the way back to this state of inner harmony. One such key tool is the concept of synchronicity, an astonishing phenomenon that manifests when a person is in complete alignment with their true nature. For example, one might observe how after freeing themselves from detrimental relationships or toxic circumstances, they suddenly encounter someone who understands them more deeply than anyone before. Or, after making a brave decision, an individual soon discovers an opportunity that seems tailor-made for them. This is synchronicity. Jung saw such coincidences as proof that the universe seems to conspire in one's favor when they dare to be absolutely authentic and true to themselves. However, it must be acknowledged that this path of self-discovery and authenticity is inevitably accompanied by its shadow sides. Carl Jung asserted that it's impossible to achieve a conscious awakening without corresponding suffering. Parting ways with people who don't value an individual's worth can be profoundly painful. This process is often accompanied by tears, nights of deep doubt, and moments when one questions the correctness of their decisions. Nevertheless, this pain is not a punishment. On the contrary, it serves as an act of profound purification. It can be compared to a cleansing fire that incinerates the old and unnecessary to make space for the birth of something new and better. Beyond this transformative flame, something more perfect awaits the individual. Relationships that fill their life with true meaning, unwavering self-love, and finally, an inner peace that depends neither on external circumstances nor on other people. It is time to pause and engage in deep reflection. One should ask, what dream did they once abandon because someone convinced them it wasn't worth pursuing? What part of their true essence did they hide from the world to avoid disturbing peace or causing discomfort to others? For if there is one thing Carl Jung unequivocally emphasized, it is the absolute inviolability of human dreams, passions, and inner essence. They are not subject to debate. When an individual betrays them for the sake of those who don't recognize their true worth, they lose not only their direction in life, but also a significant part of their own soul. However, when a person reclaims them, when they confidently declare, "This is me, and I will follow this path," then the entire universe begins to support them, aligning itself in their favor. Next, consider a person who serves as a deep source of inspiration for you. This could be a close friend, a family member, or even someone you deeply respect from a distance. What is their common, unifying trait? Most likely it lies in the fact that these individuals live by their inner truth, expressing their authenticity without apology for their true selves. Now, imagine yourself as such a beacon for someone else. For when a person frees themselves from the influence of those who do not value their worth and dares to fully express their inner light, they not only transform their own existence, but also encourage others to follow their example. This is truly a ripple effect, and its origins always lie within oneself. A moment of truth arrives, encompassing the most significant action. Today presents itself as the ideal opportunity to make a momentous decision. Do not postpone it until tomorrow or wait for circumstances to settle and become calm. It is today that you must consider, what are you willing to let go of? What connections, perhaps now burdensome, will you leave in the past? What deeply ingrained belief or crippling fear will you dare to release to clear the path for something more beneficial and brighter to enter your life? The eminent thinker Jung held the conviction that human existence is not reduced to the pursuit of fleeting, superficial happiness, but strives for the achievement of genuine fullness of being. This fullness, in his view, is revealed only when an individual is in absolute harmony with their inner essence, with their true self. Therefore, it is strongly recommended to take this decisive step, because beyond this pivotal choice, a deeply personal and authentic life awaits you, one that fully corresponds to your inner world, not merely a prosperous one. If you can master the art of freeing yourself from connections where your worth is not recognized or is ignored, then, drawing on Jung's profound ideas, you can confidently assert that something incomparably more favorable and valuable awaits you. It is important to always remember, true transformations and significant changes in life originate solely within